Greetings, villains, vigilantes, heroes, and heroines.
You're tuned in to Project Supervillain. We're your hosts. I'm ArcDrifter.
I'm Kill Boss.
And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. As most of you may know, we're doing a collaboration once again with Nest to bring news to you guys. It's called GNN, and if you haven't heard of it, you should definitely go check out the links down below. I'm going to be linking some of the shows down there. We've been a part of that every week for the past month now. Today we're going to be doing a tier list of all the biggest video game publishers out there today. And so, without further ado, let's begin. They all get F.
They all get F, yeah.
They all get F.
Fuck
the
every
end.
last one of them.
That's it.
No, but for real, we're just taking a look into this so you know who is going to be in your corner come this year in gaming and who you might want to steer clear of. A lot of these companies do have awesome games under their belt, but not every single one of them is a perfect company, and some are just downright evil, some are amazing. So we're going to get into that right now as we dive into our first ever list of Tieranny. So we're going to start this list off with Activision Blizzard, everyone's favorite big-name publisher that's got a hold of the likes of Diablo and Call of Duty, a bunch of other games in between. You know what it's all about, but we're going to give them a D, because as good as the games are that are under their label, there is just so many controversies surrounding this company as of late that expand far beyond the world of gaming, and it is just hard for us to say without a doubt that these are good people behind the company. Again, games are awesome. I'm sure they're going to be just fine. They do fuck up here and there, especially with file sizes and offering content, microtransactions. So, good games, but there's a lot of controversy behind this company, and I don't see it getting better anytime soon. So for now, that's a D for you, Activision Blizzard.
You can stay there for now. Moving on to our next publisher, it's 2K. So, these guys are not okay with me.
No.
They're really horrible.
2K not okay.
No, exactly. Not 2K. Not okay 2K. Anyway, the reason they're horrible is because every single game they release seems to have stupid microtransactions, namely their NBA games, all their sports games actually. I'm sure the new PGA has something in there that, you know, dress up your golfer with fancy shoes, you know, all that and shit.
Yeah, shoes with gold leaf and stuff like that, and spending money on card packs and gambling mechanics worked into a basketball game. It's basically a casino with a basketball game attached. So
exactly.
That's a lot of the controversies that come from there.
And, yeah, because of that, and you know, stuff like with Borderlands not launching very well, and just kind of questionable decisions on behalf of them, they're definitely going to have an F tier. Just go stinker, poo-poo, go by.
Yeah, no more.
You guys need to fucking get better or get out, honestly.
That's right. And speaking of better, it starts with a B, just like Bethesda. So Bethesda, that is definitely going to be a B-tier publisher for us. Bethesda has had some real big mess-ups in the past, even just recently with games like Fallout 76, and like, hell, even Skyrim back in 2011. Rough launch, but I'll tell you what, most of these games are amazing. And Doom, you know, they've got Doom under their belt as well now. Those have always been amazing games. Nary a complaint about them. So you know what, we're going to give Bethesda a pass on this one. They've been doing okay despite some transgressions here and there. So
Bethesda gets a B tier.
Yes.
So our next publisher here on the list is Epic Games. They've been doing some really weird shit the past years, especially with the lawsuits with Fortnite. I found that kind of weird that they're choosing to lobby their players and stuff and act like that's some sort of serious war against, you know, like, it's really just because they want more money. Let's be real, like with Apple and Google and all that stuff.
It's just corporations in a fucking penis-waving match with each other.
Yeah, and they're trying to lobby their player base to help them, and I find that really weird. And they do make a lot of questionable decisions with their Epic Games store with exclusivity and stuff like that.
And, you know, the store not being entirely complete or competent.
Yeah, so they're just going to get a C tier for us. They're going to come float in the middle because they do make great games and they do publish great games, but
they have Unreal Engine.
They also have quite a bit of negativity surrounding them, so yeah, they're going to float in the C tier and just stay there for now.
Yeah, it's not all bad, but it ain't all good. Alright, so next is Rockstar Games. I don't think they need any introduction. They've been around for a long, long time with huge series like the Red Dead series and Grand Theft Auto. That's pretty much all you need to say for those guys.
That's it, pretty much. I mean, they did Mafia and stuff like that.
Mafia, but Max Payne even, you know?
Yeah, but you know what? It's really just been about Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead for the past few years because their online scene has been flourishing. They still get amazing sales. Those games still like our best sellers.
They're super relevant even in today's day and age. Like, some of these games have come out like almost 10 years ago, and people are still talking about them. So we are going to put them into a B tier. Again, some of the things that have held them back would be like their, reliance on microtransactions and just a lot of the scummy stuff that they pulled within their company. But for the most part, their games are on point, and they at least give you full products for your money. And I feel like I've always got my money's worth out of a Rockstar game without having to spend additional funds to make me feel like I've got a complete game. So we'll put them in a B tier.
Pretty solid. Speaking of pretty solid, moving on to our next publisher, we've got Capcom. We're just going to put them straight into an A tier because they're really awesome. They've, aside from some pretty shitty microtransaction decisions over the past few years, namely like with Marvel versus Capcom
and DLC practices.
Yeah, like they're not so great where they hide like some really good stuff behind paywalls and stuff like that. I don't appreciate that, and I'm sure nobody else does, but because all of the games that they release are generally solid. You got big titles like Monster Hunter, Resident Evil. Like every year they're releasing just great games that are always topping lists they're always topping lists of content creators and reviewers alike. So definitely an A tier for Capcom for sure.
Absolutely. So now we have to talk about CD Projekt Red a little bit.
It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, this was a tough one because we all know CD Projekt Red as being, one of the most consumer-friendly developers and publishers out there, but just recently, as you're probably well aware, they have sold all that goodwill and thus sold a couple of tier spaces on this list. We were prepared to put them in an S tier just for the quality of content they deliver and always being consumer-friendly.
Pre-Cyberpunk.
That's right, pre-Cyberpunk.
Pre-CP, like
pre them lying about how finished the game was and lying about how much it was going to function, to the point where they've actually pissed off some of their investors and bigger companies that have had to remove the games from their store shelves.
Sony took it off their shelves.
That's right, lest they risk the wrath of consumers who are rightfully pissed off. So you know what, we're going to have to bump them down to a B tier, which is still not all that bad, but you know what, they were going to be an S tier for, again, the quality of work that they do and their consumer friendliness, but it's just not in the cards for them. They played with fire, they got burned, so sorry guys. B tier. Cyberpunk was still really fun, but a lot of glaring issues with it that need fixing, and you lied about it.
And we'll be keeping our eyes on you from now on, because if you guys fuck up again like that, you're gonna be quickly going down to EA levels, not to spoil the list.
That's right. You'll be in the bottom of the septic tank with the rest.
Anyways, let's move on to our next publisher here, Devolver Digital. They're awesome. We love Devolver Digital.
Yeah.
They're woke, you know what I mean? Like, not to be cringy or anything, but they're straight up. They know what people like, and they know what people don't like, and they always make fun of the stuff that people don't like at their E3 shows and stuff like that. So I gotta give them props, and we also gotta give them an S tier because their games are always on point as well.
Yep, no microtransactions, no bullshit, just a game, and there you go, have some fun.
Yep.
So while they're not exactly an S tier, it's still Sega, and Sega is good stuff. They have been releasing some pretty solid titles over the past few years. Again, you don't hear much from them as much as some of these other companies, but they do have good stuff under their belt. I mean, one of the games that I really enjoyed playing recently from them was the Yakuza series, and Yakuza is solid. Again, one of these companies that's mostly releasing full, complete, solid games, giving you your money's worth, and only charging for microtransactions on the side. And again, all the content's there. This is truly just extra stuff. I can't really find anything bad to say about them. I don't know if they've had any controversies or anything, at least not to my knowledge, so we're just going to stick them in the B tier. Everything's pretty good from Sega.
Okay, moving on to the next one. We did mention this one before. It's Electronic Arts. Now, it's pretty obvious they're not going to be getting a good ranking here. We're going to stick them right in the D tier. And, I mean, you might be surprised that they're not getting an F tier straight out of the bat, but it's because they do have a couple notable releases lately that actually haven't been tainting their name further. So, like, look at Star Wars Squadrons and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Namely, those two have been free of, like, bad microtransactions and anything like that, and they were solid games as well. So they're still a bad company, though. Don't get me wrong. Like, let's not sugarcoat anything here.
They've got a lot of improving to do. We'll say that.
The stuff they've done in the past is just inexcusable. They've been top of controversies in regards to gaming. So, and let's not forget the surprise mechanics and stuff like that. Like, let's just leave them at a D tier, and they don't have any hope of going any further unless they do something crazy. You know, they gotta go, like, super pro-consumer if they want to get out of that D-tier status, because their name is tainted.
Talking radical reform. All right, next up is Bandai Namco.
Let's talk about something a little less tainted.
A little less tainted, Bandai Namco. Definitely a publisher that I feel like a lot of people are familiar with, especially nowadays with hit games and series such as the Dark Souls series. They even published Tekken. What else they got? Smash Brothers.
They helped out with Smash Brothers. Didn't publish that, but they helped out
with it.
I think Nintendo technically published that one, but.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Bandai Namco, they're definitely known for pretty well most anime games that are out there. Just look it up. Yeah, all the like Naruto games and stuff like that. Bandai Namco, they're the ones that are funding that, footing the bill. And then you said From Software, that's a big one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with their Dark Souls games coming out all the time, and those have always been great quality. Again, a company that generally seems to have, I have little complaints for. I don't see many complaints from other people. Maybe there's a few here and there, but for the most part, they seem like a good publisher. You know, they got good games underneath their belts, so that one we're gonna put into the A tier.
Yeah, they get a good ranking. They definitely do deserve it, so we'll leave them there. Let's move on to our next publisher here, 505 Games. So some games 505 Games is known for publishing are games like Control, Payday 2, Sniper Elite, and essentially these games, none of them have super big controversies or anything like that, but Control does have a small one there. I'm not going to get into it or anything, but their ranking is just going to be a B tier. We're going to leave it at that because they're not like a good publisher per se because of that, but they're also not a bad publisher, so they're just going to stay there at B tier.
After that, we have Ubisoft. So, Ubisoft, everybody knows who Ubisoft is by this point. They've been around for decades now. Been producing pretty good games most of the time. Few controversies within the company that, again, it's one of those things where it kind of boils out past the realm of gaming. Not going to get too into it, but let me just say some of it's really despicable. And because of those things, we're going to bring them down to a B tier. They do have some fantastic games under their umbrella. You know, they got Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Splinter Cell. If they fucking make one!
But again, they are a pretty solid publisher, and for the most part, they don't really fuck up that much, and most of their games are pretty solid. So just give them a B tier, and we'll leave them at that. So the next publisher we've got here is Valve. Now, they've kind of been under the radar lately, because mainly they just operate Steam and don't really do much else, but one thing we have to note is that Valve always releases quality games, and I mean, they did just release Half-Life Alyx, and we got to give them that too. Like they're coming back. They're gonna make more games now, and
feels like it anyways. I mean, Half-Life Alyx is definitely one of the best VR games that you can get out there right now. It's one of the most complete offerings. So hopefully, if they are going back to making games, we see more stuff like that.
A tier.
A tier, perfect. Next is someone that no one's a stranger to. That is Sony. Sony, one of the biggest electronic giants in the world. Definitely an awesome video game publisher. They're always releasing quality first-party content, and they do allow a multitude of third-party content onto their consoles. Haven't really had anything bad to say about any one of their games.
Yeah, and then they did have that whole thing where they didn't really want to be a part of cross-platform and stuff like that.
That was dumb.
But that, you know, they did end up, you know,
conceding.
They ended up conceding to that, and so yeah, Sony they do get an A tier because they're a pretty solid publisher.
Great games, always good stuff. I don't ever feel like, you know, they're taking advantage of the players with that. They always give you a full, complete game. It's really sad that has to be a good selling point these days, but you know what? Sony's definitely got that in the bag, so we're putting them in the A tier. We're
going to move on to our next publisher here, and that's Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers is a pretty notable publisher. They've released quite a bit of games, notably Mortal Kombat and Batman, all those games as well. And
yeah, they also did the Lord of the Rings games, and like we mentioned, the Batman Arkham games, which were all awesome. There was a bit of controversy surrounding Batman Arkham Knight on PC a few years back. Again, another company that has no qualms about releasing a broken game and trying to sell it to the public as if it's a functional piece of electronic entertainment. Yeah, definitely not all about that kind of stuff. And in general, in there, they have just had a lot of shady microtransaction practices, especially with the Lord of the Rings games. You know, come to the second one, and they're selling orcs and loot boxes, and orcs are just something that you need to build up your army towards the end of the game. So, yeah, because of all that kind of skullfuckery and stuff, we're going to put them in a C tier.
Mm-hmm. Go down there.
That's right, good games, but, guys, stop with the money grubbing.
Something's got to change there. Moving on to our next publisher here, we've got Microsoft, another one of those big tech giants. Obviously, this is one of the biggest ones that can pretty much eat up any of these publishers here with money.
Right.
But they also release really, really good quality games lately, and they've been getting better for that since they've pretty much bought every publisher out there. They didn't buy every publisher out there, but they bought a lot of big ones over the past couple of years, namely like Bethesda and stuff like that. So I know Bethesda's on here separately, but they do still publish their own games.
Yeah.
Now, Microsoft, they're going to get an A tier because they don't really have any big controversies or anything that's going to bring them down at all. But they're not the best of the best. They're good.
They're good.
We'll leave them there at the A tier.
Oh, we have to talk about everybody's favorite publisher in the entire world. The one that if you say anything bad about, that's a paddling. But we're going to talk about Nintendo for a little bit. And well, Nintendo, again, lots of good games. They own lots of great titles and franchises. They just aren't the most consumer-friendly company out there, especially in the wake of a recent controversy where...
I don't know what's going on in their heads, honestly, with the things that they're doing with recent controversies. What they're doing, essentially, is blocking people from playing an older version of Super Smash Brothers, like, for no reason. You know, everybody loves Super Smash Bros. Melee, and they just want to play it, so hashtag free Melee. Go look into that. We're not going to go any further about it, but Nintendo is going to get a C tier.
That's right.
Because of their crap.
That's right.
And also, they don't like us playing their games apparently online, and they'll fucking copyright strike you and stuff like that. So, to you, Nintendo.
Yeah, you guys gotta stop being fossils, man, about the copyright
Stop
thing.
it. C tier.
Stop it. Get some help.
Let's move on to one of our last publishers here, Riot Games. So they're gonna get a C tier. I'm just gonna say it out now because they've got quite a bit of those undescribable controversies. I mean, they are describable, but we're just not going to do it here because, you know, they're pretty bad. Go look into that stuff. They also have pretty good quality for the games that they do publish, though. So League of Legends obviously has been a juggernaut in the multiplayer scene over the past decade. And then they've also got other games on their way. So we're looking forward to seeing those games, actually. Personally, I am, anyway. But yeah, because of the controversies that they're in, I recommend looking into those. By the way, they're gonna get a C tier.
Finally, we have Square Enix. Again, another company that needs absolutely no introduction. They have been a huge influence in the gaming scene for decades now. They've been around a lot longer than we have been, even. You know, they've been exactly.
Back when they were Squaresoft.
That's right. Published games, obviously, like the famous Final Fantasy series. That is probably one of their biggest things. They've even had their hands in Deus Ex before, which is one of my favorite franchises. You know, they did a good job with that sort of stuff. But
recently they did Marvel, and
that's right.
That flopped hard. And their recent cash grab tactics in that game, we've got to drop them down to a couple pegs. So they're going to be a B tier. Like they can't be a solid publisher after doing stuff like that. Stop doing the stupid freemium crap with your games and just release a quality game. Like, the story in Marvel Avengers is apparently pretty solid, but the monetization in that and all the costumes and stuff that were locked behind a paywall, that's just stupid.
Yeah, they even pull, like, dumb stuff outside of that game where they're, like, releasing Final Fantasy in 3 separate parts, and it's like, do you really have that much content here, or is it just going to be, like, a bunch of, you know, layered crap on top of crap? We'll see when it comes out, again, because Square Enix, most of the time they're pretty good, but sometimes they're kind of shit, so no more cash grabbing, ass grabbing from you guys. Just fucking make a good game, and we'll buy it. You'll get money.
And sit in B tier.
Sit in B tier.
Just sit there, because actually that's it for today's show, guys. That's all of the publishers that we've got in our list here. We kept it at an even 20. There are obviously more out there, but we figured these would be the most notable ones to name here. So,
alright, that's going to conclude this list of Tieranny. We'll be back with more at some point in the future. We'll have some more topics to cover, I'm sure. And make sure you check out the links down below to find the Gaming Nest News. That's the news show that we are doing with our partners at Nest Canada. So make sure you go and check that out.
Look for the GNN logo.
That's right. Thanks for finishing my sentence for me.
You got it, buddy. So if you guys enjoyed today's video as well, make sure you slap it with a like. Look at me. Slap it with a like. Do it. We appreciate it. Anyways, oh, fuck. Fuck! Also subscribe because we appreciate that as well. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure you like and follow, do all that good stuff. And we appreciate all that support. If you actually have any opinions about what publishers you want to talk about, if there's any we missed that you would have put on this list, make sure you comment that and let us know. Or maybe give us a little list of your own in the comments of the publishers we covered.
But I think that's going to be it for our show today, guys. So, once again, thanks for joining. Thanks for watching.
Project dismissed.
Peace out.
Yeah.